uppercut, leave you laid out on the floor. Try to duck and roll, hit and miss, now you counting stars. Should've practiced more, should've hit the mask, get out there more. Claim that you're the best. You gotta show me, son. Actions over words, baby boy. Is you real or what? Talking way too much, world come. Back sports, talking way too much, world come. Back sports, talking way too much, world come. Back sports.
Big shout out to the hottest chat in the MFN game. A-side. A-side official, no negotiation needed, period. Salute to everybody that's on their way to the building. Yeah, it's a late one. Probably I understand the notifications probably didn't go out. It's all good. I'm going to give it a little bit of time because definitely I want to clear some things up. I'm playing the role of life coach right now. You know what I'm saying? I think it's extremely important that people, be reminded. It's okay. I'm here to do that. You know what I'm saying? Because at the end of the year, people get a little fuzzy. They may drink a little bit more than they're supposed to, smoke a little bit more than they need to, and just overall, just does things that contribute to the freaking holiday spirit. I get it, bro. I get it. Real talk, I get that. But what we can't allow to happen is that we believe that just because you see a red wagon rolling down the street with a bunch of cats in it on top of each other, just because they want to go, jump on the bandwagon ride and want to ignore the truth, it's not going to be a pie hole in that mug to remind you that this is not fit for the main roadways. And we up here watching boxing all year round. We totally understand the quality of our position of our favorite fighters. But what I do know is that it's a lot of content creators on here that's willing to sell themselves totally. They have sold themselves totally out for the moment. They have sold themselves out. These are the same people who said it was just about boxing, not to be a fan of the boxer, but a fan of the sport. You know what I'm saying? Not to be a fan of the boxer, but a fan of the sport. Well, that has since changed, y'all, because I see a lot of individuals that say, forget about integrity, forget about character, forget about all of that. All I'm doing is riding the wave, and I don't care what people think about me or my content. It's my channel, not theirs. You know what I'm saying? I'm going to go out here and support who I want to support. I get it. But let me remind you of something. You all can hop on any fighter's bandwagon you so desire. But at the end of the year, let's get one thing straight. Is that the one who did it the best in 2023 is no mistake, is no denying, none of that. You all have to understand that the biggest fight this year was Crawford Spence. That's what you have to understand. Whether you want to accept it or not, whether you want to accept it, that's up to you. But let me explain something to you. You're looking at the thumbnail. I'm continuing to hear black people. I'm continuing to hear black content creators, right? Have a state of selective amnesia. And they want to insinuate that it was other fights up here that was, for one, bigger than Crawford Spence, and then two, in the point of ignoring the magnitude of that fight that everybody was waiting on. Now, before July 29th, everybody was waiting on this mother. You could not turn on and not hear somebody talking about this fight, man. So many people was waiting on this fight. Everybody putting up money. Look, don't you know a fight of this magnitude force some people to leave YouTube under their original handle because they owe people money. Don't you know the magnitude and the depth for which Crawford was able to accomplish on July 29th changed the scope of YouTube for at least about a good 5 years? You know what I'm saying? Because so many was invested in trying to be right about this fight that the ones who wasn't right, they ran away. They went into hiding, seclusion. They owe people money and they ran away. Or they just went online and said they're not paying them after they said they bet thousands on fights. Fighters who would sit up here, content creators who would sit up here knowing that they was talking heavy about this fight. They left out what was in the thumbnail. I'm just hearing people talk about, post-fight that Errol Spence was all this, the other. They had a whole list of what Errol Spence was and why he wasn't supposedly 100% when he went into the fight. His coach came out and said that Errol, the weight didn't matter. The weight wasn't an issue. But did we forget this thumbnail up here? Spence said, I don't want to leave the division without fighting him because I don't want that on my legacy. People saying that the fight, people saying that's the fight that never happened. Once again, I repeat, I don't want to leave the division without fighting him because I don't want that on my legacy. People saying that the fight that never happened. So Spence, who was campaigning at 147 pounds prior to Terrence Crawford entry into the division, he was here. Whatever he was doing while Crawford was in the lower divisions, Crawford don't have anything to do with that. All we know was that Spence was here. It got to a point where once Crawford arrived in the division, a rivalry began to blossom. Something that would go down in the history of the sport. The two fighters that haven't stepped in the ring yet prior to July 29th. It was so much intrigue and suspense and climax to build up to this fight, man. It been so many freaking content creators who was good friends with one another, unfriending one another. You know what I'm saying? Debates after debates, angry mobs, smear campaigns. I'm talking about the magnitude of this fight had everybody involved. For any one of you cats to say that another fight this year supersedes that, you're just acting and pretending to be stupid. Because you know damn well if you follow the sport and you consider yourself larger than a casual, right? You wouldn't be up here saying that. But let's get back to Spence. When y'all get up here and you want to advocate for him in a way that you're doing him his just due. The man said himself he didn't want to leave the division. He said himself after Yadina's Ugas, he's coming for the effing belt. So then he come for the effing belt and he gets the contract made. He said he had to make some concessions. That didn't sit right with y'all, but he made the fight happen, right? Spence did what he had to do to make the fight happen. Crawford did what he had to do. Both fighters came together to make this fight happen. Two black fighters. But yet, just because it didn't go the way of the popularity, the misguided masses, your guy lost. You want to now continue to walk around here and devalue Crawford's achievement and say Spence was weight drained. He had every opportunity to leave the division whenever he selected. He chose not to. He chose to go out here and entertain his liberty the way he saw fit. Crawford didn't tell him how to go out here and get his life on and when he was in between fights. Crawford didn't have anything to do with that. Crawford had nothing to do with that. Crawford didn't have anything to do with him having an accident. Crawford had nothing to do with any of the out of the ring experiences that certain people want to ignore that prolonged his return to the ring. Crawford didn't have anything to do with his eye injury. He had nothing to do with that. But yet and still, I hear people always talking about he was weight drained. Doesn't he have a team? I'm just curious. Didn't he have a team? Didn't he have a trainer? Didn't he have all those individuals around him? So now y'all get to the end of the year and y'all want to become pathological liars. I mean, we already got enough of them in the sport of boxing, but we all know Crawford stepping on Spence, stepped on his fans too. They continue to show who they are because they just can't let it go. They just can't let it go, people. They can't let the dang results be as they lie. They are still mad, y'all. They're still mad. Shout out to Martin King Boxing in the building. What's good? Big Blunts Boxing, the first on deck. What's good with it, GOAT? Salute to you. MD on deck. What's good with it, brother? Maybe that's a little better. Appreciate it. Appreciate it, Blunts. Samad on deck. What's good? What's good? But look, I had to bring this up because I'm seeing and hearing individuals that's asking leading questions in interviews because they want to make sure the lip gloss they have actually slides off the ass cheek the way it's supposed to. That's what I'm getting at. Like, you have people that's asking leading questions for fighters that they're puckered up for right now instead of being real diehard fanatics. You know what I'm saying? Hardcore boxing fans who's going to stick to the truth. They want to sit up here. Well, you think, yeah, you know, this fight right here kind of puts him as fighter of the year, you know, and, you know, from what he's been able to accomplish, is nobody else even close. I mean, come on, you got to be real with yourself. You know what I'm saying? You got to be real with yourself if you believe that any fight this year has been bigger and has had the moment that we was waiting on than Crawford and Spence. No other fight. That's just point blank period. No other fight with the big names have came close to this type of freaking magnitude. The storyline, everything leading up to it, and how it all played out in front of millions. It played out in front of millions, y'all. And they're up here talking about Spence was weight drained. Well, look at the thumbnail. You know, I had to go in the archives and pull this up. Spence said he didn't want to leave the division. What more do you want Crawford to do? You want Crawford to have a tough weight cut? He said it was tough for him. Didn't they say he missed weight? Yep. You know what I'm saying? They say he missed weight before he went up there, right? So I'm saying, what did you want Crawford to do? Because y'all are making it seem like ignorance is bliss. The fighter that did everything that he was supposed to leading up to this fight, you want to come up with all these lies and run a smear campaign. But the fighter who was out here taking L's and then took an L on July 29th, you're praising him, even though you wasn't even talking about him leading up to the fight. You was busy talking about his opponent. So pretty much you got what you asked for. You put more emphasis in Terrence Crawford than you did Errol Spence. You wasn't trying to sit up here and talk how Errol Spence is going to win the fight. You was busy talking about how Crawford wasn't going to win the fight. You know what I'm saying? You didn't really boost up and up here boasting up and talking about the skill set of Errol Spence and what he would do. Oh, y'all was saying what Crawford couldn't do. Stupid, dumb, just pure ignorance. Y'all was talking about what Crawford couldn't do as a fighter, what he wasn't going to do, instead of saying what Spence could do, what he was going to do, what he should do. Y'all was busy putting all that energy into Crawford, man, and he absorbed it. He sponged all of it up. He generated that motherfucking energy, and then he unleashed it July 29th, and it changed boxing forever. Because y'all are walking around here just making it seem like y'all a brand new to the sport. Y'all want to sit up here and praise the person who didn't follow the guidelines to set them up properly for July 29th. You know what I'm saying? Y'all want to somehow act like, oh, we just going to ignore all that like it's going to change the results. If we lie and come up with all these damn false accusations, that's going to change the results. If we sit up here and try to big up another fighter and say, oh, Crawford fought a weight drain Errol Spence, how is that possible when they have to make weight? I can give you some other fighters that had problems making weight but made weight. You know what I'm saying? Mikey Garcia is one of the worst I've seen to pretty much make 135 when he weighed in against Robert Easter Jr. And he looked like a freaking a hash brown. I mean, I didn't see a muscle print in his motherfucking physique. I didn't see none of that shit. But he still went in there and won the fight. You know what I'm saying? There's been plenty of fighters that look a certain way, and then they rehydrate and they go in there and handle business. Hey, Crawford was no different. Spence was no different. Spence weighed in at 147, higher than Crawford, and he lost. So these people that's sitting up here that's wanting these boxing fans to say, okay, just listen to what I say. He fought a weight drain Spence. So you trying to tell me every time Spence was knocked down, he didn't get right back up? Wouldn't you think Spence would just stay on the canvas, rolling around, disorientated, and the fight would have been called off before the 9th round? No, he kept on standing up. He kept on fighting and fighting and fighting. You know, man, he showed courage, man. So was he weight drained to the point where he couldn't get up from one knockdown? He couldn't get up from one knockdown, bro. Like, y'all making it seem like this man didn't fight back. Spence fought to the very end, bro. Crawford was just too much. He fought to the very end. What are y'all talking about? This is disgusting. This is shit that people say, you know what I'm saying, that goes on all the time. And when they criticize us for doing it, you want to get mad and try to call somebody a racist or something. How in the hell you can sit up here and watch this play out the way it did and then turn around just because your fighter didn't win? It's excuses. If Crawford would have been on the other side and he would have lost that night, none of this conversation about Spence being weight drained would be a topic. None of it. None of it would be a topic because it wouldn't be relevant. They wouldn't want to hear if Crawford was potentially weight drained because they always consider him the smaller fighter. So they consider that to be ineffective. You know what I'm saying? Bullet points to use to try to debate. But see, the one thing that's non-debatable about Terrence Crawford is that he went in there and beat Spence up. He beat Spence up because Spence said he didn't want to lead the division before he fought Crawford. So there was no other option because he say, oh man, that's the fight that never happened. He had 3 belts and he was unified champion in the welterweight division. So when was they supposed to fight? They were supposed to fight on the scheduled fight, the scheduled fight date that they had, right? That's when they were scheduled to fight. They fought. Everything was passed with medicals. The commission. Both fighters was good to go. They made it to the scales. Spence and Crawford was up there conversing amongst one another. Spence said, you don't have to thank me for making a fight and all this. He didn't seem weight drained then. He seemed like he was able to have a conversation. You know, he was able to freaking function. He was fully aware of his surrounding. It didn't seem like he had any impairment to me. And also, being that I did learn how to read in high school, when I put this thumbnail up, it tells you clearly that Spence was not going to lead the division until he fought Crawford. And that's what he did. And you have to say to yourself, this man sat up there and kept getting up and kept getting up. This man was getting beat up and kept getting up. But see, we're talking about the bat to the head effect. That's how badly that incident damaged Errol Spence fans. It damaged them real bad. The impact, oh man, we're talking about CTE for life. Reason why I say CTE for life is that these so-called boxing fanatics refuse to let it go. They refuse to give him all his credit. So when they're going around here pushing a narrative about a specific fighter and who they want to support, and then you have the other ones looking at them like they're crazy. So, all of a sudden, you want somebody to support this fighter now when you was the same one up here running a smear campaign. Like I said before, WCS said it perfectly, and I know it hurt y'all to hear this. I will say it again. You all spent all of your time talking about what Crawford wasn't going to do, what he couldn't do, and what he can't do. That's what you spent your time doing leading up to that fight. You never spoke about Spence and what he should do, what he was going to do, how he was going to do it. No, you was busy talking about Crawford and what he couldn't do. Oh, Crawford can't do that. Crawford ain't going to be able to do this. There's no way Crawford can do this right here. Everybody was talking about the same shit that was over there hating. You know what I'm saying? There's no way for Crawford to do this. Crawford ain't fought nobody. There ain't nobody on his resume that prepares him for Spence. He did all that work for nothing. Errol Spence did all the heavy lifting. Oh, we can't let the heavy lifting phrase go to bed, right? We can't bury that shit just yet because y'all was saying it over and over again, the heavy lifting. So let me ask you this, the Spence fans. Do you think the heavy lifting kind of had him fatigued? You know, every time he listened to the shit online that people saying, you know, he heard people say that he's doing all the heavy lifting. Do you think that kind of worked on him mentally? Every time he heard a video or a live stream on here, do you believe that pretty much fatigued him too and kind of depleted some of his needed energy heading into this freaking fight, the biggest fight of his career? See, the stinging part about this whole thing is that the Spence fans underestimated Crawford so bad that when the massacre started to play out in front of them, the shock and awe effect was tremendous, man. The blunt force trauma that Bud Crawford was applying to Spence pretty much reciprocated out to his fans. It was what you call remote mental abuse. They were seeing it from afar, but yet they was feeling it like they was right there in the ring. You know what I'm saying? You rarely get a fight that happened, but you know, when people emotionally invest themselves into a fight like Spence and Crawford, your mental state get punished. Especially when you underestimate a fighter so much that you say, See, people was laughing when I said, there's no way I give him 0% of winning. I give him 0% of beating Crawford. Why? Because, dude, I look at life like this. You can die from anything. But when it comes to athletics, you know, you look at an athlete and you see how Crawford goes about his life, and you see how Spence goes about his life. That's all I need to know. I know Spence had better skills. Crawford had better skills. You know what I'm saying? I know people believe that Spence had better skills due to the opponents that he's faced. But Crawford overall skill set, his overall mentality as an athlete to carry himself through the sport the way he did and everything, hey, you can't take that shit away from him. How strong. And then they ignored the fact. I kept on mentioning this about him wrestling. I even did a video with June Cow down here in the American Top Team on how he was showing Michael Seals, who fought on TV at the Triad Combat, how he was showing them about clinching, mixed martial artists who clinch, and how they have the advantage on the inside because they know how to clinch differently. And it's something that you should know in boxing. When I found out that Crawford, how in depth his wrestling was, and being he does other things, in combat sports, and how strong he was, I was like, this not gonna be even close. I used to tell people, I say, if they was to get into a street fight, Crawford and Spence, it will look even worse than what you've seen on July 29th. Because if Crawford shoots on Spence, Spence know nothing on how to defend that takedown. And once Crawford gets top position, it's over. Now, of course, he can sit up there and say, you know what, bravado for bravado, tit for tat, mano a mano, we can just box it out. No, a street fight, Spence will get dumped on his head. You know what I'm saying? Somebody's not going to go up there and throw hands at you. They don't have to. They probably going to level change on you, get in on the hips or get in on a single double. And once that's the case, man, it's over from there. But see, the great part about July 29th is that the strengths that they believed that Errol Spence had towards Crawford, he nullified them. He nullified them, dog. Y'all was up here underestimating him before he got in the ring, while he was in the ring, and then you tried to erase what you seen on July 29th. You tried to erase that by saying that, he was drugging, he was taking peds and he was juicing and loaded gloves and all that. Just look, it's just pathetic. It's pathetic at the end of the day. But know this, he didn't have no other route to take. Spence had no other route to take except to stay there and fight Crawford. So if you say he was weight drained, y'all acting like Crawford had something to do with that. He didn't have nothing to do with Spence being having this declaration to stay at 147. He didn't have shit to do with that. Crawford's still at 147 right now as we speak. So therefore, if you all was up here talking about undisputed, heavy lifting, why y'all didn't sit up here and encourage him to move up to 154 if you felt like somebody who just fought April 16th of 2022, somebody who just made weight to fight Urdinas Ugas April 16th of 2022? Why weren't y'all over there in Texas telling him, oh, you okay? You okay? No, y'all was in there bragging and bigging him up. Oh, man, and look, he fucked Urdinas Uga up. Oh, my God. Oh, Crawford ain't going to stand a chance. That's all we heard. Oh, Crawford don't have a chance. It's too much, man. It's too much. This guy's just a beast. He can't be messed with. Pound for pound best. Once he beats Crawford, he should be number one and all this other shit. And then when he gets, let's do the math. May, June, July. What is that? 15 months? 15? For real, 15? So you trying to tell me Crawford gets blamed for fighting David Avanesian and have a little less months out the ring than Spence. But Spence made weight April 16, 2022 to fight Terrence Bud Crawford July 29th of 2023. And y'all still sitting up here finger pointing when in front of the cameras they try to say what Crawford did wasn't anything special. Well, guess what? He was the first one. The record books say he was the first male fighter to become undisputed in 2 different weight classes. You know what I'm saying? He was the first. That ain't going nowhere. That ain't going nowhere. No matter what y'all say, how y'all look at it, I know that CTE is something special. But I'm telling you, Crawford did what Crawford was supposed to do. He accepted the fight for undisputed, and he went in there and became 2-time undisputed. Now, what I suggest to the pro Spence fans is that you be better people in 2024, because the amount of bickering and whining and pouting that y'all have been a part of in 23 as an adult, right? It's just uncalled for, man. This is unacceptable behavior from grown-ass adults who want to do all these videos talking about weight drain. Weight drain, weight drain, weight drain. You know what I'm saying? Look, I know you all would love for Crawford to be in a position to have an accident and people be guessing, is he 100%? Huh? Did they have another video of Crawford out there drinking? Was he at the clubs? Oh my God, he ain't taking the sport serious. But the cowardness, you know what I'm saying? The cowardness of someone who's treating the sport like it is a profession, and it is up to him to bring that money in to support his family, right? The cowardness of people to recognize the route that he took, the avenue he decided to travel to this sport, worked out better for him because he never had to go through the adversity outside the ring, because you don't have contracts outside the ring. You know what I'm saying? You're not having a contract outside the ring. They don't have a contract for you to go to the club at least 4 or 5 times a month. It's not a contract for you to sit up here and consume a certain amount of substance that's not conducive to your professional career. They don't have people up there encouraging you to test yourself, to say, okay, before you go work out, get some of that JD over there, get some hen, and get some of that tequila. That's not part of the contract. So for a fighter to go about it the right way, and for the other fighter to go about it the wrong way, and the results played out the way it did, you have to accept it for what it is. Don't be a coward anymore. Don't sit up here when the camera's rolling talking about Crawford for the weight drain Spence. That's taking the pussy way out. That's pretty much saying you're unwilling to man up. You're unwilling to man up and be like, yeah, I seen what I saw. I saw what I seen. And Spence was defeated on July 29th. Bad. Surprisingly, it could have ended in the 7th round. But he carried him in the 8th and finished him in the 9th. So y'all can continue to go up here and look, this is shit that y'all have to take with you all when you lay your head down. When you sit up here and communicate with your inner circle, your friends, family, and they know you talk boxing, that's shit that you got to have on your heart that you fucked up. Y'all fucked up. Y'all continue to sit up here and underestimate what Crawford's capabilities was. You never gave him a chance to go in there. So you're not true combat sports fans. You're not true combat sports fans. Because if you were, you never would have underestimated anybody, especially fighting on that elite level. And then to get the results the way it was, so brutal. You know what I'm saying? To see his face, you know what I'm saying? Just looking like Crawford damn near landed 98% of his freaking punches. See, one thing we can't say is that Spence landed only 36 shots. That's what we can't say. We can't put it out there that he only, Spence only landed 36 of his punches the entire fight. No, it wasn't that type of fight. It was a back and forth. This we talking about fight of the year. This we talking about train of the year. We're talking about the instructions that was given in the corner. We're talking about both fighters willfully engaging one another. We weren't talking about no 36 punches landed for the entire time. We're not talking about that. No, we're talking about the reality of it, bro. These guys was throwing back and forth. They was trying to knock each other out. They was trying to see who was the more dominant welterweight in the world. And when that was determined, you had the Spence fans out here coming up here talking about, no, you're just a coward, the most cowardice act that you would ever see. You know what I'm saying? I mean, it's been some ones that's up to that level, but I'm saying when you talk about the pathetic fans of boxing, when you think of Errol Spence fans, it has nothing to do with Errol Spence now. It's just his fans, because his fans chose to be this way. It's shameful because they are willing to get a stark reminder on how fucked up it was, on what the words they were saying, how they was acting, and talking about like they was up there training and they ever been around Crawford before. All these mugs, it was going around here talking all this trash. And when that fight played out the way it did, it hurt bad, y'all. It hurt so much that they wanted to come up here and save face to my, oh, it's no way. I never seen anybody do that to Spence. Of course not, because you never seen him in there with somebody like Crawford. You know what I'm saying? So in order for you to let that register, you need to go in there and watch the fight again. Watch the beauty of the hunt. Watch both fighters engaging, because it wasn't no one-sided fight now. Spence was trying to goddamn fight his ass off and you know, take the momentum over. He was trying to come back, but Crawford was too freaking much, man. Both fighters was engaging. It wasn't a one-sided, oh man, Spence, I wish he would show us a little bit more. And he's just 36 punches the whole fight. We just look. No, it wasn't that. Spence was trying to freaking fight. He was getting up from the knockdowns. You know what I'm saying? He was trying. And shamefully enough, he didn't have his cowardly fans to look back at to give him a sense of motivation so he can fight through adversity. They was there, but he didn't know who they were. You know what I'm saying? He didn't care, because the entire time leading up for the fight, they was busy talking about Bud. Why? Because that's who they truly cared about. They underestimated that man so bad that's why they're in pain right as we speak, bro. Right as we speak. The man said he wasn't going to leave the division until he fight Crawford. He holds true to that declaration. The fight is finally scheduled on the itinerary. Land the MF in plane. And Crawford fly up out of there with all the belts. Now it's a problem. Now it's drugs. Now it's weight train. None of these people have helped Crawford. None of these people have helped Spence. You know what I'm saying? But all of a sudden they got the answers. And then I even go a step further about the brilliance of their cowardness. They don't even want to highlight the fact that Jerry James didn't even have confidence that Crawford may be much more of a challenge than he expected. So he pretty much let y'all down too. Did he, James, let y'all down? Because what coach goes in there with the mindset that that man ain't fought nobody? What coach goes in there with the mindset to say, he ain't fought nobody to beat you. You fought bigger fighters. Don't worry about him. He can't do nothing with you. Diddy James actually felt the glove of Crawford. It's on film. Roll the tape. He felt the glove of Terrence Crawford. So if by chance he would have got the Billy Collins effect, he could have requested commission to impound those gloves and inspect them. Somewhat like what Clarissa Shields refused to do, and want to threaten people with a defamation suit or whatever for putting out a video of her getting dropped. She's gonna sue everybody now. But you would think somebody would test the gloves, right? Isn't that what the commission is there to do? They select the gloves, right? This is so-called social media experts that was saying that Crawford had loaded gloves. So therefore, now it's a trickle down effect. Now you're saying not only did Spence team fail him, right? The commission, the Nevada State Athletic Commission, didn't do their job, because whoever was there for them to select the gloves, they didn't do the proper chain of custody. You know what I'm saying? Everything went out the window because it was freaking Crawford Spence. All the commission had to do was make sure the gloves was properly selected, and then he was back there when he was rapping them all that, and then they try to say that, you know, Crawford was back there, you know, casting his hand, and you know, there's no way in hell that, you know, this could have been something natural. You know, so it went from his glove to him being a juiced up freaking fighter. You know what I'm saying? Just an overall cheater. They wanted the place to blame on Snack, which is allowable. It's allowable for them to take that, right? And then the equipment that's there for the fight, the gloves, the commission went through the proper protocol to make sure the gloves was great. The fighter put on the glove, and we had a fight. We had a fight. Real talk. But I think the biggest one of all that tops it all with the cowardness of the Spence fan is that Spence himself never, ever made an excuse. This man never made an excuse, but yet these freaking stray-ass Spence fans, they call themselves supporters, that never talked about that man and what he could do and what he was going to do to Crawford. Whether you wanted to spend all the time on Crawford selfishly because you wanted the views to populate Crawford's name in the algorithm for people to show up and talk shit about him, when you should have been having Spence's name in there and continue to have Spence's name in that freaking title so people can go over there and talk about what Spence was going to do to Crawford and how that was going to allow him to come out victorious. You didn't do the shit. Suck it up and deal with it. Suck it up and deal with it, bro. Let me go to the freaking chat, man. I'm on the outside looking in. Devon Haney was entertaining, but Crawford truly was an award to me, a fighter of the year. And that's all I'm saying. Like, when you talk about fight of the year, it has to be two fighters that's willing to engage. If it's going to be fight of the year, it has to be dual participation. It has the activity level, the exchanges, the suspense, the back and forth. You know what I'm saying? You have to take that in consideration when you talk about any fight of the year. You know, what did they say about Cepeda and Baranchik? Oh, this possible fight of the year. Oh my God. Both of them have been knocked down. So they was talking about, oh, that'd be the fight of the year. You know, because it was very intriguing. To be honest, that fight, I was looking at, you know, after the fourth round, around the fourth or fifth round, I just really started looking at Ramirez and Espinosa because I already knew it's nothing that Regis was going to be able to do. It's not that Devon was doing anything wrong. It's just Regis wasn't strong enough. He wasn't smart enough. His boxing IQ wasn't up there to be able to find a way. He had talked himself, but yet he didn't have the curriculum. He didn't have the professor to look at film and have a solid ironclad game plan. And then not only that, it seemed like he didn't have a plan A, B, or C. He just had an understanding that he was going in there to fight, and he was trying to land one punch. That's all. I'm being real, bro. Bill Haney really knows how to stir the pot. W says, I'm only a Devon Haney fan, not of the fathers. Redirect. No, I'm just saying for all the Spence, you know, fanatics out there, you can support who you want. Well, it just seems like they continue to try to run this narrative that as if Errol Spence didn't say what's on his thumbnail. He didn't want that on his legacy. So he wanted to make the fight. They made the fight happen. Kudos to both of them. But only one fighter came up out of there victoriously, and he did it in dominating fashion. So you have to look at that. When you choose to take the coward way out and come up with excuses talking about he was weight drained, it's not going to change anything. It's only going to make you look more impotent when it comes to knowing what this boxing is about. It's only going to make you that much more impotent. And you continue to walk around here deflated. You know what I'm saying? Continue to do that. I'm gonna be up here grinning and smiling because that's what it's supposed to be. Y'all say y'all boxing fans, but to basically big up one fighter, y'all have to tear down another. So y'all ain't really boxing fans. Y'all sitting up here just saying, "Hey, we ain't gonna accept it." Well, maybe you accept it in the rematch. hey, 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 what's gonna be the excuse at 154? They took too much time out the ring. If they would have fought December 23, it would have been a different story. No, y'all the same one to say that's too quick of a turnaround for the damage that he took, right? So, they fight in 24. Don't come up here with any excuses. I'm talking about, oh man, that's residual damage. No. We can't talk about residual damage unless we go back to Danny Garcia, the first fight he had off the accident, where he beat him up real bad. And then he went on to Yadina Zogas, beat him up real bad. Let's not talk about residual damage now, because Crawford is not that dude. You know what I'm saying? And the good thing about this rematch is all the accusations that y'all levied, or false accusations that you levied against Crawford, now you have the opportunity, once the fight date is made, for you pundits for you Errol Spence pundits, what you can do is call up some people over there at the promotion and make sure you inform them ahead of time to take a look at the gloves. Make sure you give Terrence Crawford multiple drug tests, random as they could be. I'm talking about 3:30 in the morning random. Him going to the grocery store random. Him out on the run, he on the 9th mile random. You have planning. If you're not willing to go over there and plan. And another thing I hope, because maybe the rematch can kind of, rekindle and get some of these Spence fans that just pretty much went into hiding. You know what I'm saying? They still in the bunker below the common ground, right? Maybe you all can get together down there while you're still in your bunkers. And I hope this transmission is coming through well for you. And if y'all can get together ahead of time, make a list on certain concerns that you had for the first fight and the results, and you all can submit them to anonymously to those individuals to make sure they check them out the box. So y'all won't be up here bitching and complaining about certain things that's not right. So if you feel, make sure you check the gloves. You know what I'm saying? Make sure Crawford is a clean fighter as always. And don't just shy away from it now. Some of y'all are still talking about weight drain now. You do know they was fighting over 154 pounds when they stepped in the ring. Y'all do know that they already fought at super welterweight. So it is a good little amount of, percentage less of weight that they have to lose. But my main concern is what I want for the Spence fans to do is take a different approach this time. Put down the box of Kleenex, wipe your snotty nose, and y'all come up with some administrative paperwork to submit to make sure everything is perfect for Spence. When the fight is announced, maybe you all can do more live streams talking about the possibility of Spence having the best comeback a fighter can have. You know what I'm saying? Even though no titles will be on the line. I'm just putting that out there. But anyway, let's just talk about how Spence can come up here and redeem himself against Crawford. Talk about what you would like in a fantasy world to happen in this rematch. And then if you want Spence to win, talk about how you see it playing out. You know what I'm saying? That educated jab. You know what I'm saying? What is Spence going to correct that he wasn't able to do the first time around? You know what I'm saying? Just really embed yourself in trying to come up and bounce ideas off one another. Even though some of them ideas will keep on bouncing off that air that y'all have in there, because that's a lot of motherfucking room in there for an idea to be in there by itself. But come up with some ideas, anonymously submit them to the commission and everybody else, so you all can be calm with it. I'm talking about at peace, Freud, tranquility. I want you all to be at such peace when this rematch come up, because I want you all to speak about Spence and have confidence that this man is going to go over there and put up a better fight than he did in the first one. That's where I'm at with it. I can't do anything else about the other, type of emotional breakdowns that y'all have going on right now. I'm saying I can't do anything about that. I'm going to be honest with you. And it's not that I really care either. Shout out to Bruce Gas, Boxing Jazz, some more, man. Salute to you, OG. How you feeling? Andrew Charles on that. What's good? Well, Spence practically became a nobody from Paul's on fire. Then in those nobodies, Crawford fought are true rank warriors, hot grease. For sure, man. Maybe they'll listen because you said it. Even though you can look on the freaking, you can look on his resume and it'll tell you. But I guess due to the popularity of it all, that's where it went kind of awry, right? I mean, the popularity of Spence. I think these cats was more so relatable to reality TV than just true boxing. Because you never underestimate your opponent. You know what I'm saying? Like these pro Spence fans, they underestimated Crawford as if he didn't have no skills at all. Like he was going in there taking fighters' O's away, and they just looked at it like, well, man, that fighter he did that to wasn't nobody. They wasn't nobody. He don't put butts in the seats. He don't do nothing. So being that Crawford couldn't do nothing right, he was a black man that was moving funny. They was worried about his pockets. You know what I'm saying? They busy was leaning heavy and trying to make sure they had every corner covered, every T cross and every I dotted, y'all. The man wasn't making the money he's supposed to make. He's not a great fighter. He's not putting butts in the seats. He's not the one making the fight. Spence is. He wasn't doing anything. His resume sucks. If you compare resumes, there's no way Crawford resume better than freaking Spence and this, that, and the other. Debate after debate after debate, and that shit came crashing down, bro. That's all I'm saying. I just want the cowardness to go away. You know what I'm saying? There's no medicine for that. That's something you have to really do away with and get out your system on your own. You want to be a coward and continue to talk about, it was loaded gloves and all that, all you Spence pundits, and talk about weight training. It's not going to change the results. Just know that. It's not going to change anything, bro. You can sit up here and talk all you want. Shout out to Casey on deck. What's good? What's good? Sammy on deck. What's good with it, bro? Cooking with Sir Singh. I see you. Salute. I don't want to hear a 3-belt unified champion talk about being weight drained. I don't, man, because they was praising this man for going in there just breaking up fighters. You know what I'm saying? When he went in there and had his first fight back and said he wasn't going to have a tune-up. Well, he beat up Danny Garcia. They was praising him for it. Came up there after eye injury, beat up Yardenas Ugas. They was praising him for it. But he gets beat up, and he looked damn near worse than Yardenas Ugas. All of a sudden, oh, no, this can't be true. I mean, were you all questioning Errol Spence on if he was clean when he beat up Ugas in his home backyard? Were y'all questioning his freaking, was he clean or not? I didn't hear anything about him being clean. About his freaking, was he a clean fighter? I didn't hear anything about gloves. Y'all didn't mention anything. That's what I'm saying. Cowards do what cowards does. Like, y'all didn't mention anything about that shit. But yet, when he gets beat up by a pound-for-pound fighter that was next to him on the list, you all are inclined to be in a state of denial. You know what I'm saying? So y'all rather take the route and say, I'm in a state of denial. I'm mentally unstable. I know what I seen. I know what I felt. But it's just something ain't right. There's no way that Crawford could have did that to Spence. No, there's no way, because you was blinded. People get blinded by ignorance all the fucking time. That's why I'm trying to help you all get out of that so you can prepare yourself for the rematch. I'm trying to help you through this. Spence said he wasn't leaving the division until he fight Crawford. Get it in your head. If he made that declaration, then he chose to stay at the division. He fought the same way he fought Danny Garcia and freaking Yordenis Ugas. He fought Terrence Crawford the same way, and it wasn't enough. It wasn't enough, bro. Spence gave it 110% in the Crawford fight. Big respect for that. Shame on his fans for all the excuses. He was outmatched. It's in the books. And that's where I'm at with it. I give Spencer's credit, man. He showed, heart, first and foremost, showed heart to get up. You know what I'm saying? He showed tenacity because he kept pushing forward to try to land the shot. He just didn't get up and hang out on the ropes or throw 1,000 feints and not do anything. No, Spence was coming forward. He was trying to land the shot. He was trying to change it up. You know what I'm saying? He was doing what Spence usually does, man. I respect that. You know what I'm saying? Spencer's a dog at the end of the day. He is. He's a dog, man. His mentality is to keep coming forward. And, not many black fighters fight like that. But, Spence got heart. He has courage. He was tenacious. He just wasn't on the level of Crawford that night. I can't take that away from him at all, man. He got up each and every time. Through whatever pain he was feeling and embarrassment, he still tried to get up and change the scope of the fight. He did. I mean, y'all can say what he is. Y'all want to stick to him being high? You know what I'm saying? Well, if that's the assumption that you want to use, that he was high before the fight, explain why most people that are high, they don't have good balance. What was he high from? You know what I'm saying? Because that man got up each and every time and beat the count. And he didn't seem like he was wobbling or none of that. It didn't seem like his equilibrium was off. It didn't seem like none of that. Like he got up each and every time. So if he was high or something, then they should have pissed him after the fight. I mean, it was plenty of them pro Spence fans in attendance. All they could have did is ran over there and showed their manager license and say, I would like to recommend both fighters get a piss test. That's all you could have did. Oh, my bad. The network ain't there yet. I mean, Wheaties box don't matter. You know what I'm saying? It's no way that you could have made any type of freaking moves over there with Nevada State Athletic Commission. I got it. Terrence Crawford is Fighter of the Year. Haney ain't even close. I'm just looking at it like, man, I pretty much try to be as neutral as I possibly can, but, I'll talk my shit about Spence Crawford, but in a way that I'm not going to go in here after the fight without giving Spence his credit. All the cascading freaking adulations I've given Crawford. But yet, Spence did show heart, courage. He didn't never quit or give up, bro. And that's one of the Marine Corps' motto, never quit or give up. Spence never quit or gave up, man. He never quit or gave up. He was getting beat up, but he never quit or gave up. Spence ain't a quitter. He never quit or gave up in a fight that he was ultimately losing. And he was getting beat up. He was taking mad punishment. But yet, if he was high off something, certain individuals that support him heavy should have been there and talked to the commission. You know what I'm saying? That's all. People really going to be looking at Shawn Porter as a true boxing welterweight ambassador. He was the main reason boxing was good at the end of the day when it comes to who has risen to the top. Shawn Porter gave you the energy. You know what I'm saying? It would have been good if he didn't lose all his big fights. Like when he fought the Kell Brooks. He fought the Keith Thurmans. You know what I'm saying? You can say Danny Garcia was a big fight, but they was fighting for the vacant. You know what I'm saying? All the other people that he fought. Errol Spence. what I'm saying? He lost to that, and then he lost badly to Crawford. So, I mean, he's gonna be they're gonna put Sean Porter in the Hall of Fame, man. I think. I mean, Ricky Hatton getting in there. I'm just saying. I mean, somewhere up the line, Sean Porter, because he's a good guy. He's gonna get in the Hall of Fame somehow. Salute to you, Luckett. I see you on deck, man. What'd it do? Yeah, he was looking like Willie Lump Lump for sure. Hey, for those of you that's listening, just look at it this way. If you gotta, try to come up with a way to convince yourself your inner thoughts to create a story, a fabricated story of that's gonna take more mental energy than you need. If you just look at it for the truth, it doesn't hurt me. I don't feel any type of way of giving Errol Spence his credit in the fight. It don't really hurt me in no way, shape, or form, because I don't hate the guy. I don't hate the guy. I just always felt that, Crawford was the better fighter, and he was gonna go in there and dominate, and that's what happened. I'm not up here, saying that Spence didn't do a damn thing. Now I could turn around and say he couldn't do a damn thing because Crawford made it look too easy. But the whole process of them ignoring what Crawford was able to do in that setting, it's not dumbfounded to me. Like I said before, cowards move like that. Cowards will sit up here and see something that is absolutely right there in front of your face. You see it for what it's worth, but yet you want to twist it and misconstrue it to something that's not even true. You know what I'm saying? You want to fabricate and turn it into something that's a total lie, just so you can push a narrative out there that makes you feel better. You're never going to feel better, because the ones that's up here saying that Crawford cheated is the same ones when they see him in person, they'll want to do an interview with him. They'll want to freaking take a picture with him. These are people. I put it this way too. It'll be good if the YTC required you to attend at least about 5 fights. With media credentials, so you can kind of get an idea of how that process works and get more acquainted with these fighters. You know what I'm saying? You're able to see them up close, because a lot of these guys that sit up here and they're overly critical about these fighters, they never covered a fight before. They never really covered a fight. Some are up here pretending to be, and these content creators, which they haven't created anything. That's real talk. They haven't did anything. They haven't covered a fight card by themselves. They don't know how to go up there and do a media scrum. They never called a fighter, just hung out at the hotel or the host hotel till a fighter came up, say, hey, you have a minute for an interview? And just really been that person. They never lensed the moment and had the fighter on camera. You know what I'm saying? They never was in the fighter's press conference. None. Only thing these guys are doing is sitting at home, and then they want to be experts, and they can't even get off their ass and a lot and take out an allocation twice a year to go cover a fight. They can't even allocate themselves twice a year to go cover a fight, whether it's in their own backyard or at the highest level. They won't do it because they don't care. But yet they want to get on here and talk about, I have all this knowledge about boxing. I have all this knowledge about boxing. But that doesn't mean you know boxing. I mean, you have to go in here and get to know these fighters, man, and build up a rapport so you can speak about them in a different way, because a lot of y'all just speak reckless about these fighters because you never even met them. You never seen them with their family. You never seen them on fight week. You haven't seen them communicating. You haven't been able to chop it up with them. So you come up here and you treat them like shit because you don't care. But see, a lot of you cats that so-called support Errol Spence, one thing I say about Spence don't do too much talking anymore in public. He don't. Now, granted, he did his freaking media scrum, to lead up to the fight. Okay. But prior to that, I don't know to this day where a lot of you cats were. I didn't see y'all out there, bro. I didn't see none of y'all. And that's the weird part about it. Y'all coming here hot and heavy because YouTube traction is picked up, And people want to say, oh, you know what? I'm going to quit my full-time job and I'm just going to be a full-time YouTuber. And if my elbow starts to hurt from typing so much, I don't know, man. I'll just suck it up and rub some freaking some cognac on it, or some aspirin. So now you want to be a full-time YouTuber. So now the numbers go up of individuals that was nowhere to be seen just a couple of years ago. Nowhere to be seen. They weren't out in no fights or nothing. Then all of a sudden, they come up here and they want to act like they the best freaking content creators ever. They know so much about boxing. And you ask them how many fights have they covered. They don't have nothing on their resume. Nothing. Nothing. And they'll tell you, hey, man, I have this many people watching my live. I have this many views. It doesn't matter. Anybody can sit here and create a thumbnail. Anybody can sit at home in the comfort and not take a plane out to the fight and really dig in for 3 freaking days. Go to the presser, go to the weigh-in, and attend fight night, and then bring all that footage home and edit it and put it out to the public. Man, that shit is not easy. But you got cats out here that's used to going with the new wave now of sitting on your ass wave. And then the ones that made it to a point of locking in with certain fighters and they get to go to fights, kudos. But like I say again, just because you go see a fighter fight doesn't mean you're doing media. You're not even doing any media, bro. I'm just going to call it the way I see it, man. PM, what's good? Hopefully since Spence ain't in the gym, he's studying film and perfecting his game. We really don't know if he's not in the gym or not. Just because Diddy say that his head is clear, but he ain't back in the gym, don't mean he's training with Diddy. You know what I'm saying? Diddy got a lot of shit going on now. Don't get me started. There's no redemption for Spence outside of the honor of fulfilling the rematch obligations. It's going to be ugly. It's going to be quick. End result will be the same. I'm ready to see it. Hey, man, I like that concise. You know what I'm saying? Concise, straight to the point. You know, even though it is a prognostication, but based off what we witnessed July 29th, it's not far from the truth, man. You know what I'm saying? I mean, if your coach don't watch film, Spence don't watch film like that. I mean, how are the changes going to come about? Because shit, Bomac them be talking about fighters they haven't even stepped in the ring. Talking about, we already been watching film on you. But why? We haven't fought. I know. But we want to fight, though. But we've been doing our film study on you already. I mean, come on. Who does that? A person who wants to be always prepared. You know what I'm saying? Always. Spence looked subject to how he fought Ugas. He's not very aware on where to be at certain points to me. I agree with that. I agree with he was a little off balance. You know what I'm saying? But I can't really give him excuses on that. Because when the moments that he had, when Ugas was landing that right hand, his fans was making it seem like, oh, that ain't nothing. Man, nothing didn't happen, man. That's gonna happen. You know, him getting hit, that's gonna happen. They didn't want to give him any cons. You know what I'm saying? They didn't want to critique him the right way at all. It was almost like, oh man, he went in there and beat Ugas up. Did you see his eye? Did you see his eye? He broke the man's rib. So Errol was believing so much of what his so-called fans were saying that they led him right off the bridge. You know why? Because he felt so much of himself that he went and got a mouthpiece made with an eye on it. See, that goes to show you that he underestimated Crawford too. Spence underestimated Crawford too. And then he got a second mouthpiece made with a fish. So he decided to wear the eye mouthpiece, which in itself could not provide him the vision of the trauma that he was about to face. That eye on that mouthpiece should be a third eye, but there's no way that it could see into the future and let Spence know that, hey, you sure you want to go through this now with this fight plan you got? I've been listening. I was eavesdropping. You had me on the table now. And I was eavesdropping and shit. And I don't think that plan gonna work. You still want to go? I'm gonna tell you, you might want to switch it up. And then, you know, that's when Diddy James came and swiped it off the table until, you know, and said, you know, don't be careful about that, man. Who you get to make mouthpieces. They can be nosy sometime. We don't need to watch no film. He ain't nobody. But what about all the partners? He ain't fought nobody. Who are they? They ain't nobody. The worst thing you can do. The worst thing you can do, bro, is underestimate your adversary. And it's the worst thing. And he found out, period. All the excuses are pathetic. If Spence was high, he would have been suspended. How could he be drained in the division he's been fighting in most of his career? Spence is a one-dimensional fighter. Factual. Wow. Factual. Wow. That's facts. Facts in the chat, shouty. Shout out to the hottest chat in the MF game, A-Side official. You know what I'm saying? That's just facts, period. Start defending one-dimensional, brother. One dimension, but when it comes to his fans, you know what I'm saying? Trying to big him up, they don't mention anything about one dimensional. All they do is pretty much let you hear that he's Goliath and Crawford's just a speck in the dirt. And Spencer's gonna step on him and keep on walking. It didn't happen that way. It didn't happen that way at all, bro. And it's crushing. And I'm going to keep on allowing them to experience the emotional depletion, you know, periodically, because I'm not going to do a live every day. There's no need. And now when the fight is announced, I would get back active with the hot grease on freaking Spence Crawford. You know, but I've been allowing them to get through the holidays. I want these pro-Spence pundits to get through the holidays, you know, a little bit less stress than they was going through on July 30th. That's all. That's all. That's all. I just want you to take a little time to yourself, unconstrained. Just get a full release. Relax. You know what I'm saying? Because 24 is supposed to be a rematch. Okay? I want you to just have a damn good holiday. I don't want to hear none of these other, you know, excuses that you was doing. Shout out to Dion Washington, my guy on deck, man. What's good with it, Dion? What's good, shawty? How you feeling? I didn't know that he actually got an eye as a mouthpiece. Yeah, he got a you know, an eye. One of them was an eye. You know, the all-seeing third eye, and he had a big fish on the second one, because he said his mouthpiece had been coming out. But the one thing I like is that mouthpiece stayed in his mouth, I believe, most of the fight. You know what I'm saying? But it couldn't foresee and tell him, say, hey, you might want to switch up a little bit. You know, you can't stick with the same game plan against this dude before Diddy James swiped it off the table. You know what I'm saying? At that point in time, the mouthpiece say, fuck it, man. I'm done talking. I'm done talking, man. I try to warn you, and he knocked me on the floor. Okay. See you on the 29th, man. See you on the 29th. EJ may be one dimension, but his fans are extremely versatile with the narratives. Hey, talk that talk, man. You know what I'm saying? You ain't lying, right, Tyrese? You ain't lying at all. They extremely versatile with the narratives. They be in them private chats coming up with false information, and they don't feel no type of way about it, even though it hurts them, because they know it's all bullshit. But as long as they come up with enough information to get a reaction, that's all they want. But you know how WCS look at it? It don't matter what reaction they get. It's not going to change the results. R-E-Zults. Results. It's not going to change what is recorded. R-E-corded. You know what I'm saying? It's not going to change what we know that's on the register. It's not going to change, man. It's not going to change it. I can actually appreciate the smaller boxer. Hopefully we get some good fights at the zone also. Man, the zone is cooking, man. You know, they cooking. Real talk. Exactly. It's like the kids in the circle just making up anything. You ain't lying, man. You ain't lying. That shit's crazy. You know what I'm saying? But, you know, you got to keep on reminding them that, you know, we ain't forgot that Spence said, I don't want to leave the division without fighting him because I don't want that on my legacy. People saying that's the fight that never happened. He chose to stay there. So what the hell Crawford supposed to do? Crawford made weight, Spence made weight. But Crawford won the fight, and now they want to goddamn come up with all these excuses. Man, come on. The man wasn't going to leave 147 without fighting Crawford. The fan base was basically calling for the fight. And then you get people still up here, you know, talking that he was weight drained. Continue to say it. I encourage you to do it because it's not going to change anything. But every time you say it, it just further proves that you're using energy that's not going to result in anything conducive. So I want you to continue to say he was weight drained because I know somebody dropping links. I know he's training. I know supposedly they have a rematch coming up in 2020. Continue to sit up here and be a hater and say, yeah, he was weight drained. He was weight drained. So just like Andrew said, you know, when the rematch come back up and the first one went 9 rounds and this one doesn't go half of that, y'all can sit up here and come up with some more excuses. But make sure y'all remember what I said. They're pro Spence fans. Get that list together of everything that you saw discrepancy of in the first one and submit it to the commission ahead of time, okay? Okay? Proper preparation prevents piss poor planning. I want you all to use your P's, there, Spence fans, and get everything documented. Okay? Get everything documented so we won't have no excuses. Those of you that want to claim that you're Spence experts, you know what I'm saying? Make sure that you all get that documentation submitted ahead of time so the commission can be fully aware on what to expect from Crawford. You know what I'm saying? And don't let this rematch be in freaking Texas. Don't let this rematch be in Texas now. See, a part of me thought that, you know, Crawford, being he already became 2-time, he said, oh, let me go in his backyard. But, you know, he want the money. He want that Vegas money. So he ain't going to go over there to Texas to do that shit. I'm just saying. But at the end of the day, they're the hottest chat in the MFing game. And if you come up on, you know, they're not saying too much about it. They want to talk about, you know, fights that ain't going to happen. Fighters who they want to be fighter of the year, but they don't know. They just wasting their oxygen. It ain't going to happen. That shit ain't going to happen. I'm just saying. And then, you know, we want to talk about one of the biggest cards that's still left on here. We got them heavyweights coming up. You know, we got the Bronze Bomb on deck again. We got AJ on deck, man. Otto Wallin. Jared Anderson. I'm not Jerry Anderson. Jarrell Miller. We got him on deck. Joseph Parker. Man, we got a lot of champions. Former champions on deck, man. For real. They in that Saudi. They getting that Saudi money on the 23rd of this month. And then you got Naoya Inoue, who's going to become a 2-division undisputed. I see him winning that fight. Real talk. I see him beating and becoming 2-division undisputed. Real talk. He's been on the run. You know what I'm saying? To move up from 118 to 122 and be able to fight Fulton, get 2 belts, and then fight for the unification. I have nothing bad to say about that dude, except I really don't know who the heck people going to convince me about who he fought to get that shit. Come on now. You know, I respect, you know what I'm saying, like what they say about him, but come on, who did he fought? Who did he fight exactly? Like, real talk. You know what I'm saying? How do you look at his 118th undisputed run and then look at this 122 run? You know what I'm saying? It's crazy. But anyway, salute to y'all, man. Hold it down. Till next time. Peace. I'm out.
jab, uppercut, leave you laid out on the floor. Try to duck and roll, hit and miss, now you counting stars. Should've practiced more, should've hit the mask, get out there more. Claim that you're the best. You gotta show me, son. Actions over words, baby boy. Is you real or what? Talking way too much, world come. Back sports, talking way too much, world come. Back sports, talking way too much, world come. Back sports.